No, I'm alive.
Eric, if you got my text about him, right?
I believe that I did, yes.
Yes. I want you to take careful note and attention.
Okay.
All right? Take notes if necessary.
Okay.
So, Gary, how did your day go?
Oh, it went just smashingly.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. I went to work and got my first assignment, which was 1 block from the house, and I had to drive all the way back.
How's your trainees coming?
I don't know. Somebody else was training them today.
More work for you in the future.
Indeed.
Well, it seems like every time I get the truck, it's trash.
Yeah, I've had that experience before.
No fuel in the tank, garbage everywhere. The cab stinks. I got to sit there and sweep out all the dirt and empty the trash cans.
Yeah, it seems like they need training.
No, it's the trainer that allows it.
Or they need their mother to come with them.
This guy is too old for his mother.
Wow.
Well, my valve came today, Gary. I guess you heard that.
No.
Yeah, my solenoidally controlled valve for the oil drip.
Did you figure it out?
Oh, yeah, super easy. It does work. Yep. Went to Homeless Depot and got the stuff to gear it up, and I'll be on that like white on rice, dots on dice, and drugs on Miami Vice.
Is it a 24-volt coil or a 110?
It's a 110.
Ooh.
So what kind of thermostat are you going to run that through, or are you going to have an isolation relay?
I am holding the isolation relay as I speak in my...
Bravo Uniform Zanzibar, Barzak Buzzsaw on New Rhinebeck, New York, 100 miles north of New York City, over.
Okay, Buzz, very good. We'll get you in here, Net Control will get you in. Anyone else that's not a member that would like to check in, go ahead. I don't hear anyone. Okay, Net Control this evening is K1BF, Bill in North Berwick, Maine. So K1BF and the Gray Hair Net. This is W1CKI and the Net listening.
CKI and the illustrious group. Well, I got a little handle, so if I miss somebody around the middle of the net, by all means, call me out. So we'll proceed with what we have. Before I bring in W3ESD, something to consider in a way, QRZ base. But beyond that, let's get the wants and needs out of the way, and then we'll bring in the new call in. So with that, anybody got any wants and needs for the next call? K1BF. Got a totally satisfied group. You need or want to get rid of. Oh well, what can I tell you? W3, very interesting bio there. Wonder what you're running tonight with that wonderful list of stuff you've got there. So, W3, I'm sorry, EMB, Echo Mike Delta, and Rhinebeck, that's I used to live in, so this is K1BF.
Yes, K1BF and group, this is W3EMD, very good. Okay, it's the first time I've been on 160 probably in 2 or 3 years, and the first time this rig has ever been tuned up anywhere near this frequency. Running Collins KW1, receiver is a Rockwell Collins 851 S1 from the 1980s. Antenna is a 600-foot square horizontal loop. And I know most of these chaps from 75 meters AM. So that's the story. This is W3EMD to K1BF.
K1BF, very good. Well, Buzz, good to hear you. Well, needless to say, the rig is doing a good job. I used to live in Coquet, and also many years ago. So, also licensed about the same time you were, etc., etc. So, very interesting. Nice to hear that KW1. It's doing a good job, as I would expect it to. And, you know, check in a couple more times, and you can let them chop a notch on your pencil with a membership to the Gray-Haired Net. So, that being said, thanks again for getting in here, and look for you again next week, possibly in future weeks. Do you have any more to offer to the net tonight before I go on and start down through the list?
Well, no, thank you. Just like to hear the others and see what the signals are like. Your signal is extremely strong here. You're about 40 dB over 9. Go ahead.
Roger that. Well, this is a frozen snot rig. It's one of those things that you can pick up with one hand, and you know, so much for that. Into what I call a doublet antenna. Not terribly high in the air, only up about 80 feet in the middle. There you go. Good to hear you, and we'll look for you again next week. And if I get more active, I may even run into you on 75 one of these days. Let's see, everyone's front to back tonight. That was our sole new check-in. As I said, a little bit out of whack there in the center. I don't know why, but I'm not going to go through it. If I skip the program, please break in and bring me up to speed. So yeah, let's go to K1RTO. How's everything up there, Sal? K1BF.
K1RTO is ahead of Buzz. We have two shows, CW 30 meters when the band splits. Anyway, yeah. So much on that. It's pretty neat. I'm taking everything out on the top SDR there. Central Vermont. Looking at the signals. They're coming in quite well. And we got the whole garlic planted. Everything got plowed. I picked all my lettuce. I still got my onions and lots of butternut squash. Just made some soup tonight with that, broccoli and onions and garlic and all that. We got that all set. So we got the arugula and the cold frame picking that. And we did 4 bouts of leaves, all ground up most. And then they put on top of the garlic patch there, and some of the garden and some of the compost. Anyway, I took the tractor battery out and got the snow blower going. Supposed to get some snow, the light snow it said all day, I guess, and probably 3 inches here. So, and yeah, we have woodpecker issues here. I found some of those old CDs there on some string, and hopefully they'll keep them away. It seemed like you kept them away from the inside of the house. The west side.
Ça nous pas mesurer sacrifice ça qu'a coûté nous.
Porque teniendo la comisión técnica en cada sección especializada, en la recepción, en el picheo, en los jardines, en el cuadro, en el bateo, todo eso requiere de especialistas que estén atentos a eso desde la nación hasta el municipio. Teniendo eso así, yo pienso que la que todo eso se va a resolver.
Mi imaginación
información a través del entendimiento del...
The internet would like to send us an email.
Of the book of the prophet Isaiah, and we'll take a look at that next. These chapters contain a description of the reward awaiting the righteous, and what it is describing is Yah's millennial kingdom on the earth.
Okay, I've got it. But what verses again?
Okay, yeah, so chapter 65. Let's start at verse 13. It's the context is what's so interesting here. And this prophecy has never been fulfilled, so we can know that it is yet future.
Right.
And what's happening here is that Yahweh is telling those who persist in rebellion, those who reject salvation, the future that awaits them. What I want you to notice as you read through these verses is that Yah is drawing a comparison between the righteous and the sinners. Go ahead, Isaiah chapter 65, verse 13.
The idea sort of crossed my mind to get a small museum started. It's just that I didn't have that much to fill it with. Then I went to my mom's, since I was aware I hailed from a family with quite a tradition behind it, and where the traditional costume held pride of place. I told Mother what I wanted to do, and then Mom told me she would give me all the costumes that were left in the house, save for one, which she wanted to be dressed in at her own funeral ceremony. I told her that's what tradition was all about. It was the Romanian people's identity card, and that people had to be promoted, admired, and carried forward. I told her that, first and foremost, for me, that costume had an artistic value. Then it had a sentimental value. I went as far as telling her it even had a spiritual value. For me, it was like an icon.
Singura sportivă română medaliată la o disciplină individuală.
Found out she also had the priestess's old apron.
que hubo en esa isla con el mundo occidental desde
challenging circumstances, but hopefully
Unlimited, so they cheat. Okay, hearing everyone quite well. Band seems to be pretty good. Good conditions tonight, so got quite a few check-ins. I'll let you carry on there, Bill. K1BF and the Gray Hair Net, W1CKI.
Bill, W1CKI, K1BF. Yeah, well, sorry, I got that all kind of mixed around. Dryers, washing machines. Oh, what the hell, it's all the same thing. Anyway, it isn't really, but you know what I'm saying. You know, push forward. That's the best I can do. All right. Let's go jump get WA1GFZ in here. Frank, go ahead.
Yeah, K1BF. The group. This is WA1GFZ. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, I guess we got somebody down frequency about 2 kilohertz decided you're going to open up on us, so we'll send a little horsepower his way. So sorry to hear about your daughter, George. Hope she comes through it okay. But it sounds like she's in good hands. So I have the server power supply hooked in. I only have 2 modules going right now. I have the DC side hooked up, not the AC side, so we'll try to get that tomorrow. I didn't have enough time today. The ferrite student showed up at the room, so didn't have a chance to finish the wiring and put it all back together. So we have to still sitting here listening to the net and taking it all in. Tomorrow is my 32nd anniversary of my back operation, so December 8th is a milestone date. So anyway, back to that big group here. I don't know. Have a good week, everybody. K1BF, WA1GFZ.
WA1GFZ, K1BF. Well, very good, Frank. Very good. Well, I'm glad you got that other server thing going, and anniversary's away, and all that other kind of thing. And yeah, that's good. You're doing a good job from down your way tonight. Sometimes I don't copy you all that well, but tonight I'm getting you just fine. Actually, I'm getting most everybody. Early on, it was a little bit dicey here, but I had a noise level that seemed to fade into the background as the evening progressed, which is probably a good thing. Not probably a good thing. It's definitely a good thing. All right. Let's see. HK was in and out, so it's back to Pete. WA1SOV, K1BF. One heck of a carrier.
Yay! I don't know what's going on with the audio. K1BF and the Gray Haired Net from WA1SOV. Yay! Something wasn't functioning there, but we got it now, I guess. Anyway, yeah, freezing out here in the garage with the RCA Monster here, running the BTA 1R on the net. Haven't done too much with it since last week. Been busy wrapping up things at work. in preparation for retirement at the end of the year, so I'm looking forward to that. I say good evening to you, George. Very strong on Steve's station, and he was 35-40 over. And Bill, you're the runner-up at about 30 to 35 here. Listing on the SDR play tonight, but I got a GPR 90 working down the shack that I'm going to bring out here as a receiver. So hopefully that'll work out. Okay. Anyway, Buzz, good to hear your radio on here. You're doing well. Haven't talked to you in quite a while. Good signal from Sandy Hook, Connecticut. And Bill, you're piping down here about 20 over peaking. We seem to have something intermittent in the receive antenna here. I'm not sure what's going on. It's not happening down in the shack, but out here something is odd. I don't see anything in the transmitted signal that's causing any issues, but something's going on with the receive side. I see signals jumping up and down like there's an intermittent. I got some of these adapter connectors from Amazon. That's probably the problem. The Chinese specials, they're not exactly Amphenol graded. Geez, you know, and I forgot to do the wants and needs, but if anybody has any 2500 watt plug-ins for the Model 43 Bird, I'm looking for one. The new ones are cripe. They're over $300, and I'm not going to go for that. The one they sold me was for a different watt meter. So you can email me at my email address, charter.net, if anybody has something. Anyway, good to hear everybody on here. Great signals, and I was hearing John W9JSW quite well. 10 over here in Connecticut. K1BF and the gray-haired net WA1SOV.
WA1SOV, K1BF. Well, you're doing a hell of a job up here. Of course, that's you know, that's quite a bit of horsepower to go that little bit of a distance between Sandy Hook and the very tropical part of southern Maine. So much for that. But, yeah, very good. I don't have anything like that, but somebody in the net may very well have some slugs of that nature. I don't have anything of any kind that goes up in those power levels. So much for that. Anyway, it's good hearing you tonight, and Pete, you take care, and we'll catch you down the road. And yeah, you were on with one hell of a carrier and no modulation there for a little bit, but when you got it back, it was robust. That's all I can tell you. Anyway, so much for that. I'm next, and I've already beat my gums enough, and will a little bit more before this Dog and Pony show is over. So let's go right down and pick up Tom. W2ILA, K1BF.
Okay, K1BF. It's not W2ILA. Everyone's sounding good tonight. Got some listeners. A little bit of maybe noise down the road, but propagation's been picking up. I guess I've been listening since around 6. And CKI was pretty light at the time. And 9PBF was pretty light, but now everything's picked up really well. Unbelievably exciting but other than kind of put the garden to bed and tilled in some leaves and stuffs, and then let it all be burned in the spring, and covered it with some spare straw that I had in a big, just had to get out of the way, so it's covered with straw. It looks very neat and professional now for the garden hat, but I noticed I got Brussels sprouts growing in there. Real nice. I had a pretty bitter battle with the groundhogs this year, and they devastated the Brussels sprouts. Never saw one. So now I'm surprised. They're back. I think I won the groundhog war, and it gave a couple months for those to come up. I don't know how long they go. Seem to have survived the couple frosts we've had on the coast here. So that's cool. And that's probably the last garden report of the season. And been fooling around with some Jeep projects. I've got some sheet metal work I want to get done as part of a restoration. It's been on my list of things to do, to take a fender and convert it from a Willys fender to a Ford fender. It's just little details that have to be done, not structural or shape changes. Bring some minor pieces over. So I was just kind of fooling with that this evening. And also pulled a project I need to start, yet another one. That's a Naval Observatory clock, self-winding clock. So I got to get that going as well. Pretty nice. It's about 12-inch diameter face, and they had a couple of I forget what the size of the battery were. 1.5 volt. But the big ones are about 1.5 inches in diameter, maybe 4 inches tall. So switching that over to D-cells, and then the thing that's missing is the connection to the phone line, and I guess Western Union no longer gives you a time pulse on your phone line under subscription. So we'll have to go with good is good enough for timing pulses. Although I believe it was W2HX. Eugene was telling me how he took a GPS time pulse and turned that into a pulse for resetting the Naval Observatory clocks. I think they reset at the top every hour. Kind of cool. So anything to distract, and that seems to be what I'm doing. I did get a note from a guy who acquired, I was watching the W1YG Parker's estate. He was down in Lyme, Connecticut, and measured his stuff went up for auction over last week. It was an SP600 JX28. They made 100 of that model. I've had one for 25 or 30 years. Nothing special about it other than it's a little bit different with an additional VR tube and a little different chassis. It's the same chassis as the VRF version. And they use that military, the phenolic boards with the posts in order to put the components. And no black beauties. It's all disc ceramic caps. It's an R620 was the designation. And I have the R620 manual. It took years to uncover that. And it lists that they're 100 and they have specific serial number range, but nobody knows why they were built, and the nomenclature plates always seem to go missing. They don't say Hammerhand on the front panel, they say SP600 on the front panel. It's kind of a blank front panel, so no idea. Anyway, this one is resolved, and I know the metal one it's in Rhode Island here, so that's 3 in the Northeast, purely by coincidence, but just kind of fun to track those down, and I'd love for somebody to find why did they exist? Who ordered those? And that goes back to I think the contract was 53. So another useless piece of trivia, but kind of fun to watch. I think it was Chris, AJ1G was on the BC375. Good to hear that in here. It sounded good. So there you go, Bill. Thanks for running the net, and hopefully everyone's copying it well. K1BF, W2ILA.
W2ILA. So good hearing from you. And Tom, you know, as it always is, interesting on the SP600. Very interesting. You know, I have my own theory on it. I won't get into it here on the air, but if we ever get a chance to talk about it one-on-one, I'll give you a theory about how that might have come to be. Just from the little bit of time I spent in the military-industrial complex. Anyway, so much for that. The one thing I would like to ask you, don't turn the filaments off yet. Have you heard from, or do you know what's going on with Brown? We haven't heard from him in ages. I just hope he's okay.
Yeah, he's doing well. He bought a house down in North Carolina, so he's been splitting time between here and North Carolina and work. So all is well. He was on the CW Net, military CW Net Sunday night from Beavertail this week. So he checks in either with an ART-13 down in North Carolina or on a TCS set from Beavertail. So, yep, he's around. He was at, he stopped by here probably 2 or 3 weeks ago when he was in town. So all is well, and I'll mention he's been conspicuously absent on the net. So.
Thanks, Tom. Well, please let him know that we all remember him, and still, well, not all of us. There's some here in the net that have been here since Brown went incognito. But please remember him, all of us to him. Anyway, so much for that. All right, Tom, you take care, and good hearing you tonight. And the next time you get to Maine, give me a call. We'll have a cup of coffee or something like that. Let's see, where are we going here? Oh, yeah, down to Pete. Up to Pete in Westover, Vermont. K2AEP, K1BF.
Okay, Taco, K1BF, and the Rainer, I just want to mention I've been hearing sound here on a regular basis. Very good signal on that station. Don't have much more going other than a bench project. I have an ARC-30D, which is a VHF aircraft project. That's been rather interesting here from the start. So, something out from this point on. K1BF and group K2AEP.
K2AEP, K1BF. You know, I keep hearing more stuff about this 630-meter thing, and that's, you know, I guess I'm going to have to pay a little bit more attention to it. Because it sounds like something I can have some fun with. Now that I'm starting to back away from the company a little bit, you know, I may actually find a little more time to do that, although I got to catch up on all stuff that I've been let go to hell in the last 4 years. But so much for that. Anyway, good hearing you tonight, and I'm going to look into that. Well, in the command stuff, yeah, I got some of that sitting over here that needs to be looked at too. So who knows? Who knows what'll happen? All right, I'm a little bit remiss here in the sense that I probably shouldn't have a call, so I'll do it right now. Anybody else for the next call? Engine service, W1BZR. How you doing, Pete? Give us a transmission.
Well, we'll make it sure. I'm going to say I'm
Well, great. I'm glad that Brian got by and chatted with him. And one of these days, I'm going to do that too. I'll come over there and give you a hard time. But anyway, good hearing you, Pete. Nice. 10 watts is better than no watts. So I don't know how many people copied you tonight, but I copied you just fine, and that's what mattered. Because I'm running this dog and pony show tonight. All right, Pete. We'll catch you later. Anybody else before I push on here? All right, K1MB, you're next.
Your voice on the scene. Anyway, I was talking pretty bad earlier. I'm running half of my dipole. With the other half is caught up in separate. One side of the dipole seems to work, maybe not well, but at least get somewhat out. The other two, because we had a weather rain the next day, or the day after, so the rain had to shut. I decided it was pretty cold, so I fired up the wood stove. It's about 80, 85, and sitting here in a short sleeve shirt. I was too lazy to get up and go home and do it. That just didn't go off. It sounds great, great signals. Pete Diesel guy was on the cool deal. It sounds good. I'm impressed that my ACOM amplifier will actually probably load up half. Not a whole lot of Bob. Not too much of it. Convert like something. So let me turn it back to you, Bill. And good to hear you. And you got to get caught up. That's tough sometimes.
Very good, Steve. K1MB, K1BF. Did you lose the dipole and all that wind last night?
I just managed to lose it the previous windstorm. So it's a short story. I'll tell you another time. Well, I'm just waiting for the guy with the lift truck to come out. And it's all on scratch. When I lift truck, I'll be back up in the air and I'll actually install the air and
Very good, Steve. Very good. Boy, I'll tell you, that one last night got my attention. That thing was violent. Very short-lived, but it was very violent. I'm surprised that mine stayed where it was. Apparently, it wasn't as, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Either the direction or the proximity to the Earth. But boy, I'll tell you, I could hear it, and it was pretty wild. Anyway, so much for that. Well, I'm glad you're well, and I'm glad everything's going good for you there. So that's a plus. All right, let's go get Jerry in here. W1ZB, K1BF. Yeah, K1BF. And the right here next is W1ZB. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Bill. Yeah, we had a short burst of wind here last night, too. And it actually blew one of my wooden Adirondack chairs over. And that has never happened before. So, fortunately, everything survived. And tomorrow we should be getting some light snow. Enough to remind us that summer's over. Well, we're on the Globe King tonight, Globe King 400, and listening on the Helicrafter's SX-17 receiver. And all signals are very good, even the far out stations are 2.5 copies here. Well, the project that I have on the bench is an ARC-V T22 transmitter. So this is going to be destined for 160 CW operations. And I've been replacing a lot of the bypass and mica caps because those usually fail or have failed. And have at least got it to oscillate on at 1800 kilocycles. So that's the first step in the conversion process. And then we'll work on the PA stage. There's several codifications that are out there. I'm looking at an article that was in QST 1963, a year before I got my novice ticket. So the article describes pretty easy conversion for that transmitter. And actually, if you wanted to get even more ambitious, you could turn it into a two-bander, work on 160 and 80. But for my purposes, I just needed to operate in the CW portion of 160. So we should be able to get through that this week. Kind of a little bit of time here and there. Nothing too taxing, but certainly anybody who's working on command transmitters know how rugged they are mechanically, and really a nice design considering how old they are. Too bad they just had, mica caps that didn't last and bypass caps that short out. So we'll be happy to use that in the upcoming AWA Link Bundle event in late January. So, that's pretty much it from here, Bill. We'll say 73s, and hope everyone has a good week coming up, and we'll be listening through the rest of the day. So, K1BF. This is W1ZB. 7 W1ZB, K1BF. Very good, Kerry. Very good. Well, yeah, you're tugging at my heartstrings there a little bit. I did that command set, the two-band thing, on one about 10 years ago. I still have the modulator I built for it, which was built out of a Heathkit Williamson amplifier, hi-fi amplifier chassis. I still have that, which also incorporated all the control circuitry for that. I've been looking for another one of those transmitters ever since. I don't know why I ever let the damn thing go, but I did. Like a lot of things, But anyway, so much for that. And you like that SX-17? That's a nice old receiver. But those are all gone too. Anyway, so much for that. But, yeah, you'll have fun with that. You really will. I had fun with mine, and it's kind of like a lot of things. And then you put them aside, and you don't use them, and you let them go, and then later on you wish you hadn't. So anyway, so much for that. The Globe King is sounding great tonight. So press on and do all kinds of good things like you always do. So anyway, good hearing you, and looking forward to hopefully we'll get to the point where we're all healthy enough to really enjoy Nearfest again. I'm looking at the spring. I'm hoping. But there we go. Anyway, catch you later, my friend. You take care. All right. Let's see. All right. Well, I guess we'll get Tim in here, and then we'll press on from there. WA1HLR, K1BF. The red stuff, put him to sleep. We'll come back and see if he's still around a little bit later. Well, let's see. John was in and out. That's kind of unusual. Well, let's see what Paul's doing. I'll get down to the shore of Long Island Sound there. N1NUC, K1BF.
Well, good evening, everybody. K1BF and Gray Hair Net N1NUC. Yeah, I heard one fellow talking about using an electric fence to keep the woodchucks out. It's pretty effective, actually. Still, I managed to trap and release 3 of them in my yard this year because they like to dig under my shed and under my porch, make a mess out of everything else in the garden, and we shot 2 that decided they were above and beyond going in a trap. But, yeah, woodchucks and squirrels aren't all that welcome here if you have a decent garden. And in the wintertime, the darn squirrels will go up into my shrubs and stuff and chew the darn Christmas lights off, socket and all, thinking they're nuts or something. So, we keep the squirrels thin year-round to avoid that. WA1SOB is looking for that watt meter slug. While I won't argue that nothing beats the Bird series of watt meters, I carry around, and I take care of numerous radio stations, I carry around a older Daiwa CN-101L watt meter, which does what do you call it? It claims to do 1.8 to 150 megahertz, but I find that it operates quite accurately on the broadcast band. I've had it on 1400, on 1260, on 1350, on 1340, and it remains pretty darn accurate. It goes up to 1500 watts. It's got a 15, a 150, and a 1500. They have a newer model out now. I think it's the CN501H. Pretty much looks like the same. They ruggedized the case a little bit. And you can get these things for 100, 120, 130 bucks just about anywhere. And that might be a cheap alternative to trying to find a slug for the AM broadcast band for the Bird. I know everybody's got them for the higher frequencies, UHF, VHF, and even the FM broadcast band. Finding Bird slugs for AM and not paying through the nose for them is somewhat of a challenge. We got almost all of our Christmas lights up. We got a big holly tree that we got to put out to see the lights on, but the house, the other shrubs, all that stuff is done. Maybe we'll get a picture on one of my servers next week and give the address for that. Yeah, Pearl Harbor Day. My dad served in World War II. He was in the European theater. He worked for the Bridgeport Post newspaper at the time Pearl Harbor was bombed, and the owners of the paper promised anyone who left to go into the service that they would have their job back if and when they returned and if they wanted it. And so Monday morning after Pearl Harbor, he was in line at the recruiting station in Bridgeport. He served in the 444 Engineering Battalion in the European theater, building bridges for our guys, blowing up the ones from the other side. But you know, he made it back pretty much unscathed. and went back to his job at the Connecticut, or well, it was the Bridgeport Post at the time. It became the Connecticut Post. So they kept their promise. What else we got here? I think that's about it. So K1BF and the Gray Hair Net, N1MUC.
N1MUC, K1BF. Wow, some things about your dad, and I'm really remiss in not mentioning Pearl Harbor Day at the very beginning of the net. We probably all ought to remember a lot of people that did things in that particular point in time. It never ceased to amaze me how people could work together despite their differences. Now, a lot of people didn't realize that in that period there were a lot of differences. My father never talked about it, or my father-in-law particularly never talked about it, because I never knew how involved he was in it until much later, when he was almost gone. Too bad. But the big issue was that you took people from very different walks of life and mashed them together, and they managed to get along, they managed to do things, and they managed to function. And, we don't seem to be able to do that anymore. I'll get off the soapbox. Anyway, so much for that. It was good hearing you tonight, Paul. And we'll look for you again next week. I think next week I might be doing this again. Kind of making up for lost time, so to speak. Anyway, good hearing you. Interesting on that CN 501. Yeah, that might be an alternative for it. Yeah, the bird stuff has gotten crazy. I've got a couple of bird meters here, and I probably ought to stick on eBay and get rid of them. I find other ways to make it work. All right, let me go back and see if Tim woke up from his glass of red stuff there. WA1HLR, are you with us or not? I'm going to call him in and out. I'm sure he just dozed off. So Marcy's probably trying to wake him up and get him to go to bed. Anyway, so much for that. Pete was in and out, so that completes that page. And the last page here, and the next guy is AJ1G. This is K1BF. Go ahead, sir.
K1BF, there we go. K1BF, and the Gray Hair Net, AJ1G, Chris in Stonington, Connecticut, and in honor of the 100th anniversary of hands working, getting across the Atlantic, the transatlantic test of 1921. I'm running the radio. It's only a few years younger than the stuff used in my old BC 191. Military used well into the 50s. 4211 big 100-watt triodes. One of them's a master oscillator. The other is the power amplifier. Puts out about 75 watts. And the other pair is number 3 and number 4 are our Class D plate modulators, and it's a VP25 speech amp. I'm feeding outboard audio into it, and we'll go back. That's standard approval from WA1HLR, which but anyhow, thought I'd put that on tonight. Now, I hope everyone's aware of what's going on this weekend on Saturday, both with W1AW and it'll be qualifying 1BCG. I think I'm not actually going to use that call sign. I might be using W2AN, I think. AWA is going to be operating the replica 1BCG transmitter, 204s, making about 300 watts or more output, and they'll be doing actually broadcast every 15 minutes starting at 6 o'clock Saturday night. They're going to attempt to have everyone chopping here on this side of the pond and hopefully on the other side of the pond. And the RSGB is going to be doing a similar thing on their side check out all, and the transmitter is going to be located up at the Windsor, Connecticut British Radio and Communications Museum. And it'll be on display all day. The museum will be open Saturday, and then the operations will commence at 6 o'clock. Very interesting. Check out 1bcg.org, the ARRL web page, and the AWA web page for all the information about what's going to be happening Saturday night. The actual 100th anniversary, which included a team of operators, guys like Edwin Howard Armstrong from W2XAN. He was the chief engineer in charge of the design of the transmitter, which they basically flew together in a matter of weeks between the antenna. It was a big Marconi T with a 60-element counterpoint, and they were very, very loud here all in the United States and also, and of course, over in England. So it was a lot of fun. Anyhow, that's it for here. I hope everyone has a great week, and maybe we'll catch you next week. And I'm going to be running this thing on. It doesn't sound half bad on this band. My goal is my personal goal is to try to get this thing across the pond for a key. So I've actually heard it on Rebel CRs over there, but I haven't actually hooked anybody with it across the pond. About 75 watts to a K6MM vertical over 15 radios. Hopefully we'll make it tonight. I'll probably after that. And while we're still a path to Europe, I'll try to get on and see if I can make some contacts. So back to net control. And by the way, the transmitter is powered by a rotating machine here, a BD77 dynamotor, making 1,000 volts out of 12 volts. So back to net control. W1F and Defined Business right here in that AJ1G.
AJ1G, K1BF. Well, I have to say this, Chris. That's the cleanest BC191 I've ever heard. And I can only say that I've only heard maybe 3 in my lifetime. I had one here. It's now up MCV's house, KB1 MCV. But very, very good. Now, it's not wandering, it's not FMing, or at least not that I can hear. It may be doing it, but I may not. I can't hear it. So if I had a scope on this, maybe I could see it. But I'd say that thing's doing a great job. So you've done a nice job with that. Very good on the information on what's going on Saturday. I find that very interesting as well, and I may have to actually stir my body to do something other than honeydews around here on Saturday and see what I can hear there. So there you go. Good hearing you. You're doing a great job, and as I said, we'll look for you next week, hopefully with that same good ring. Okay. Let's get John in here from Salem, Illinois. And I copied you quite well earlier, John, so let's see how it goes. W9, JSW, K1, Lone Q.
This is W9, JSW, to K1BF and the rest of the gang. Let me shut off this SDR here so we can get So we got our first skip of snow today. I had of course work late at work. Put the horses in bed and bundle them up. We have a kind of retirement homes for horses here. I've got two fairly old ones, one's 25 and one's 30, and they feel the weather. So I guess just kind of like the same as we do. And when we get below 32 degrees, we blanket them and give them a good solid dinner and hope that they survive the winter. So it's kind of like my little contribution back to our country lifestyle we have here. Not much else going on. My daughter did a real nice surprise for me. Gave me an early Christmas present. She picked up a small grizzly lathe for me. I had a lathe a while ago and gave it up, and I wanted to get another one, and she heard about that, and one came across an auction site that she watches, and so she pulled the trigger on it and bought it for me. So I'm pretty happy about that. That along with building the 4-400 RF deck will keep me pretty busy this winter. So not a whole lot else going on. Back to you, K1BF. This is W9.
Bill, if you're copying him, why don't you go back to him? I'm not getting him very well.
Okay, Bill. W9JSW, W1CKI for K1BF. Bill was having a little trouble copying, John, but I got you solid here, and we're good on the first snow. Well, we had our first snow here already. Only 3 inches, though. And, yeah, very good on the horse retirement. Yeah, that's great. That's nice that you guys are doing that. Very good. Keep them warm and keep them healthy. And the other comment was the lathe for Christmas. Yeah, very good. I'm sure you make good use of that. And the 400 rig, yeah, I gotta look at some specs for a modulation transformer. Let's see. Last time you were on, you said 14,000 ohms, but I didn't catch the other part. What's the ohmage that you're talking about there, John? Go ahead.
It's the 813 modulated by two 813, so it's got a plate-to-plate of 14K and a secondary is around, I think, 5,200 ohms. I think I should do pretty well.
Yeah, okay, John, thanks. I'll look up the ratios on that and see what I got here. 14,000 to 5,200 for the final. Very good. Back to that. K1BF, go ahead, Bill.
Bill, if you want to tell him, I've got a CVM5 here that's going to go to somebody.
Just a minute. W9JSW, W1CKI. Bill, K1BF says he has a CVM5. John, you copy that over?
WA1CKI, W9JSW, yes, I copied that. K1BF, I'll contact you through email if you would like. You might maybe your email's okay on either Anton or Gazette. Can you let me know, please?
Tell him yes, Bill. Tell him yes.
Okay, WB4, stand by a minute. W9JSW, W1CKI. Yeah, Bill says yes. He says yes. John, did you copy? Over.
Okay, Chet. It's one of the other gentlemen.
100% copy.
It's coming up that I'm talking to. We're on the sideband, and just not, I wasn't saying anything because it wasn't bothering anything, but well, that is kind of a little strong, so I was just hoping perhaps we can't go down. There's another group on 40 right below us, so just trying to squeeze in.
Okay, anyway, we'll start your W9JSW. Okay, John, I think you got that, what I said. Bill says yes. W9JSW, W1CKI.
I see somebody just on 40 there. Well, look at that. It's starting to get crowded again tonight.
Okay. Bill, I think I lost John there anyway. I don't know this station that is coming in there. K1BF for the guy here. W1CKI.
Very good, Bill. Well, that's somehow we'll get it sorted out. He's got my call, and I'm good in QRZ, so if he uses that email, it'll work. But I've got that, and I've got a big Heising reactor as well. So I probably could get him on the air with what he's playing with there. Anyway, so much for that. Let's see if there's anybody else from the net. I think John was the last hurrah there. So before I close this thing down, anybody else for the net? Call K1BF.
I will send John an email address.
Hey, Frank, do that. Send it to Bill.
You're gonna send me John's email address, Frank?
Yes, I'll send you both an email so you both get each other's.
All right, that's great. Thank you very much. And let's see, anybody else for the net before we close it down? K1BF. Obviously gone very long. So I guess that's what we'll do, and I'll call it a night. I want to thank everybody for participating tonight. It was a lot of fun. I probably will be here next week because I think that's my regular night. And with that, Bill, I got 20 check-ins. This is K1BF.
Okay, Bill, I got 21, but that's fine. Don't bother counting. Thanks for doing that, Bill. Yeah, I think the band went real long. There was some force coming in there, saying something, but I'm not sure. Maybe they were complaining. I don't know. K1BF, the Gray Hair Net, W1CKI. Okay, Bill.
Right, very good, Bill. Thank you very much. And, well, there's a lot of sadness in this world.
Yeah, well, we were here first, so they can be sad.
They should be sad. They should be sad because they can't participate. K1BF.
Frank, your audio went funny there again when you were talking about emails.
Yeah, I think I know what's going on. When the rig cools down, the algorithm for correcting your signal changes. And what I had to do was just recycle it and have it get a new set of data. I think I have a little bit too much authority on the temperature compensation of the bias. But anyway, I think it's okay now, right?
Yeah, it sounded good now. It's clean.
Yeah. Yeah, because what happens is the rig warms up, the bias changes, and it keeps redoing the algorithm. So then when I unkey that cool down, that algorithm is not validating the correction. So it comes up with funky audio. So I haven't quite decided how I want to deal with it. But anyway, I'll button this thing up tomorrow. Okay, well, I'm going to go send Bill an email, John an email. I'm going to get on here. Have a good night. This is WA1GFZ.
Okay, Frank. You take care. W1CKI.
WA1GFZ, W9JSW. I already sent an email. Thanks, Frank.
Yeah, okay, John. I'll shoot you an email in about 10 minutes. See you later.
is in this warm palm tree makeover. It's helped millions get rid of debt.
The Lions got an 11-yard touchdown as time expires Sunday to beat the Vikings.
Therapy are Rush Physical Therapy.
Cause everything is canceled, including Dr. Seuss. And common sense equals Facebook jail. They're all offended cause they're crazy as hell. I work hard, they're offended, raise my kids, they're...
Blessed are those.
I don't want another God. I don't want any other God.
House in
whatsoever he shall hear, that
for many fishes, saith the Lord, and they shall fish them. Now Jesus said to the disciples, I'll make you.
He's credited with launching the careers of several well-known black artists, including Stevie Wonder.
It's a full-time job, staying normal as hell.
Other people. I think there are, there's probably a rather interesting minority that doesn't give a rat's behind about anybody else with themselves. But basically, I think we all care for each other. I think that's what makes our country great, even today, as bad as things are. But it's not a matter of not caring. I think it's a matter of ignorance. And, you could cure ignorance, as I think it was Einstein said, but stupidity lasts forever. And I think there are some ignorant people in the world that need to be educated and could well be. And they're the ones that will be on your side. I think there's the stupid people that are on the other side, and you can teach them, and you can show them, you can do anything you want, but they're all about themselves, and all they care about is themselves, and could give a rat's behind whether you make $1 or not when you come and service them. And so I think you and I are on the same page on 99.5999% of that. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here and spend some time with that beautiful lady that you know as Nancy, and I know you agree. It's been a pleasure. This has been a great conversation tonight. And although I missed the other guys, this has been kind of fun. So with that, I will wish you fond farewell and adieu until we do it again, and hope to hear you again tomorrow night. Best 7-3, let's do it again. W4RYQ. This is W4HZ, and I'm still getting used to calling you W4RYQ. See ya.
Hey, W4HZ, W4RYQ. Yeah, I think our preaching wasn't each other versus the choir. It was just those who are listening in. And, take care of, you give my adopted daughter a nice big hug for me.
When you're talking into the mic,
and kind of follow it as you're switching the switches, but it doesn't show up. It doesn't show up that much on the range on the display, but in the ear it makes a big difference. So it just kind of changes some of the effects of the mic.
It sounds like it almost takes the loudest part of the human voice, so that when you're speaking, and amplifies that range of frequencies. But it also sounds like Miguel you have your processor on, correct?
Yeah, this is back to the HAL 781. The processor is on soft.
Yeah, the other mics are way better.
Well, it better be. It's more than twice the money.
Yeah, this one sounds more like the other mic you had, the earlier mic, whatever that was, the Behringer.
Yeah, that's $20. But this one I've had good. You know what it is too is that I never really have taken the time to go into the 890 transmission EQ and actually adjust that. I'm just using the high boost number 2 because that was the one that, according to the people that were listening to me, sounded better than the others. But you got to put in the time as same thing as with the Anand, the CFC stuff, and it's just labor of love.
Well, you ought to pick up Ray's audio settings off of his radio and put them in one of your users. You got multiple users you can put in there. He's got a pretty good combination, and we've taken a lot of time with his radio, and I agree. You got to take the time to adjust them. But I will say that most of the time I've heard people giving out great audio reports and they sound horrible. The person or they're telling them how good they sound. Here you won't get that. You'll get if you sound like crap, we're going to tell you sound like crap, and then we're going to try to help you figure out why you sound like crap.
Well, I appreciate that. I actually prefer the truth.
I get so many people that complain about Ray or me telling somebody they sound bad, but then they never sit there and listen for the hours it takes to get them to sound good, And I always tell everybody that if somebody tells you sound fine, you sound good, and you really sound like crap, they're not helping you. They're lying to you. The person that tells you you sound like crap when you sound like crap, that's the person that's showing you the respect.
Yeah, obviously, as long as it's done constructively and not in a disrespectful way, of course, that makes a lot of sense. You might as well. You cannot fix what you do not know. That's the truth.
W2MUR, good evening. Mikey.
W1SPS. Well, I'm going to hit the rack, folks. So 73, take care. We'll catch you tomorrow night.
Good night.
Good night, 73, KB3 ILC.
When will you get together, you reckon?
Me?
Yeah.
So I have the honeymoon this weekend. We're going to shoot for the following.
Roger, Dodger. Okay, very good.
Yeah, he offered to meet, but it's not that far. Well, it is, but it's not that bad, and I figured I would make the whole trip to save him some effort.
Very cool. Well, keep me informed. I might make a trip out.
Sounds good, Randy.
Okay, 73.
73 is Randy.
Yeah, I was actually saying goodbye to Justin, but I'm gonna check out here. My tea's almost. I'm gonna stick around for another couple minutes. I got a little bit more of my tea left here, and then I'll get out of here. I gotta hit the shower, and I gotta be to work early. Really, really ridiculously early tomorrow to fix a part that's broken.
You got your sleepy time tea?
It is my sleepy time tea. Yes.
How about that? That's nice. That's very nice.
I got my 2 sleeping pills, my 2 melatonins. Now I have my sleepy time tea, and I'll be able to knock it off here shortly.
How do you get up enough? If I ever did that, I probably would sleep till 10 o'clock in the morning.
I don't. I wait. I sit there, I lie there, waiting for the alarm to go off. If tomorrow morning I've got to get up around 3:30, and I can go to bed tonight at midnight, and at 3 or 3:30 tomorrow I'll be sitting there watching the clock, waiting for it to start ringing.
Oh my gosh.
I have like the most perfect time management system in my body. I don't know what it is. If I don't have to get up until 6, I can sleep until 5:30. But if I've got to get up at 3, I think I'm all just nervous about not getting up in time, and I'll just, boom, I'm laying there watching the clock.
I was talking to Mike, TTV last night. I got on a little late. Nobody was on. I think he was on in 1875 with somebody he met. And we had a nice little discussion, kind of caught up on some things.
Didn't he get a radio to test? No, he was. He put out a good email about the 890 S-meter. Were you on that?
No, I didn't. I did not see that. Nope. He was going back and forth with Palstar. I think he's going to pull the trigger on buying a LA1K.
Oh, really? Wow. That's not like Mike.
I know. He talked to Mark several times, and then he had some questions with me about the he was a little leery about the 50-volt switching power supply that's in this thing, and I said, look, this is medical grade switching. I mean, when I look at my voltmeter, this thing doesn't even flicker off of 50 volts. I think I saw it maybe flicker once to 49. But, I mean, as far as birdies are concerned, I think Mark at Palstar saying there was a very, very tiny birdie on 80 meters. I said, you'll never notice that in a million years.
How come Mark doesn't come in here?
I don't know, man. I wish he would. He was, I guess he's on Thursday in the net. He's probably exhausted at the end of the day, right?
He seems like a little bit of a stuffed shirt for us. And I don't mean that in any kind of disrespectful way. I know that probably comes off as being disrespectful. He seems like he's a little bit more uptight than some of the guys here.
Well, I've got to remember, he's Midwest. He's a Midwest guy.
Well, I get along with people in the Midwest, but what are you saying?
Well, I'm saying that's why he's a little stiffer than us guys over here.
Forget about it.
I'm not saying we don't get along with him. I'm saying he's just stiffer.
Not everybody's a great operating ham. Some of them are great mechanical ham.
Lucky you got it all, Mark.
Easy, Tiger.
Hello, Mr. Mark.
Evening.
So I was going to put my polyphaser in today, and I realized my guy that I worked with the last job that I had my screw kit, had a lot of my tools, and so I got irritated, and I said, wait a minute, he was supposed to drop those off, so I got on the phone and got slightly elevated. I didn't. I just nicely asked him to make sure I have this dropped off tomorrow.
I can imagine you getting mad. Now, I told you, okay, I think I told you that I wanted that stuff back here, but it's not a big deal. If you could have it back here sometime next week, that would be wonderful.
I said, no, I told him, I said, look, I got to get this is the guy, listen to this, okay, this is the last job we had. He gets out of the car, 21 degrees in Old Forge, 21 and a little bit of snow on the ground. It was cold. He gets out of the car, and I go, where's your jacket? He goes, he forgot his jacket. I said, how do you forget your jacket? It's like going out of your house with no pants on. So I had to give him the jacket off of my back. And fortunately, I had an extra one in the truck. And so I gave him my jacket, a nice heavy jacket. And so he carried on. I said, but look, by the time you're done trenching this thing, you're not even going to need a jacket. But I just get cold looking at you. I don't know where I find these guys.
Well, he's a worker. He's used to not getting dressed up when he's working, I'm sure, I mean, most of us that are outside working don't wear jackets because it gets to be too hot.
Oh, I'm the opposite. I put on 3 layers. I always layer up, and I kind of peel the layers off as I get warm. But that day, I was actually glad I gave him my jacket because it gave me another excuse not to be out in the freezing cold. said, okay, here's my jacket, man. So, do you need coffee or anything? I'm going to go get some coffee. And I rolled on how you doing? What's going on? No, I actually got in the garage where it was nice and warm, did some work.
Dennis DiDonato used to own this Glen Travel Plaza in Fultonville, and I used to work there when I was a kid. I worked there Saturdays and Sundays from 7 to 3. So anyway, I was there. It was in wintertime. It was cold as hell, and I'm pumping fuel for trucks, so you're dressed up and what have you. And I'm all done for a few minutes. I go into the break room area. I'm sitting there watching out the window, waiting for a truck to come by. And here's this black guy that, it doesn't matter what color he is, he's an older guy. I was probably late teens, early. No, I was in high school, for crying out loud. I was in the teens. And he's older, probably my age now, right? And he was hanging around the Travel Plaza a little bit, and trying to get warmed up and had something to eat, and probably begged off a free meal or something. And anyway, he was leaving, and he was walking out, and he had his light jacket on. He had no gloves, no hat on, and he was going to go out and see if he couldn't get a ride somewhere. He was going to go hitchhike or something. So I ran out. I said, hey, I forget his name, Buster, we'll call him. And I said, here, take my jacket, or take my hat, and I just was wearing a sweatshirt. Take my hat, my gloves. I said, you're going to be out here. It's cold as heck, windy, snow. And he, oh man, I really appreciate it. God bless you, brother, and all that, And anyway, I went back in, and that guy, that boss, Dennis DiDonato, he goes, you're a real a-hole like that, I said, what do you mean? He goes, you're going to spend the rest of your day now with cold hands and no hat, and you're going to get a cold, and you gave that bum, something that you need worse than actually he does. He's probably going to get a ride in 10 minutes, and you're going to be out here handling the fuel nozzle and all that with no gloves, And I thought, this guy is a real jerk, I do something nice for somebody, and this guy is telling me I'm that much of a jerk for doing it.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's pretty dark.
He hated truck drivers. He hated anybody that drove truck or worked for a living. He was all above everybody else.
Oh boy. I've just been looking at this video. I don't know. You've watched Mr. BBI, right?
I know who it is. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. BBI did a really nice, very in-depth video on an LP500, and this LP500 just absolutely amazing. I mean, he's got this guy. Now listen to this. So this guy took one of Larry's sensors that was rated at 15 kilowatts, and he was testing it. And it did really well up to. It was a prototype from Larry. It did really beautifully well until about 13 kilowatts, and then it started saturating. So Larry's got to do a little work on this before he makes it available. But when he was DBI was saying that he's got the capability of doing 15 kilowatts times 8. So he's got the capability of doing what? It's 120,000 watts.
Yeah, he's an interesting fellow. I was just thinking, I'd love to have one of those LP 500s, whatever you're calling it there. But if his 15 kilowatt sensor's not up to snuff, there's no sense to be getting it.
Oh no, it works beautifully right up to 10K.
Well, there you go. What's the point?
I mean, actually up to 13K. But this video was done in 2020, so that would have been July 2020. So I'm sure Larry's fixed that by now.
Oh, geez, I might as well order one then, Mike.
You might as well.
I hope you didn't buy that ATR 30.
No, I did not. I dragged my heels on purpose. I didn't want to buy it because it just wasn't worth it. If I could have got it for $325, it would have been nice to keep that one because it was nicer, and maybe sell my old one to somebody on the Toad Harbor Net who needed one. That's kind of where I was going. But now, well, by the time you get done with shipping and everything else, it was up to $430.
Yeah. Well, it's a nice thought, but they're available,
I find that QRZ, I mean, anything decent that gets on QRZ, man, it goes quick.
Tony, did you say something?
This is KC1LKO. I'm on the Anand radio now. I'm just doing a little test of the streaming thing as well. But, Randy, are you still here?
I'm here, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for that link, and thanks for the pointer to the videos that you have on that, Facebook. I saw a bunch of those last night, and I can see the process and the little thingies. They don't have them at Tractor Supply, but I did get them ordered via Amazon of all places. So they should come in on Thursday, along with the zip ties. So that gives me a lot of options. So that's opening up all kinds of experimentation possibilities. So.
Yeah, it's fun to make. It's robust. It's really inexpensive. It's it takes a little bit of time to get the hang of it. Make sure you got really good DuPont 66 zip ties. That's a critical part. The zip ties lasting out in the sun and the weather and all that. The ones you get from Home Depot and Lowe's, they don't hold up too well. But the ones that we've been getting with the DuPont 66 makeup in it is they last really well.
Yeah, Roger, that's what it said there. I made sure that it had DuPont 66 there on the description, so I'll take a look at them when they come in. And this, by the way, is the Anand. I'm driving less watts here. That's the other thing, and I'm streaming this onto YouTube, which I'll delete the video anyway. I just was experimenting with that, in case anybody wants to see the transmit scope, or what do you call it, waterfall scope. It's KC1OK on YouTube right now, live.
Yeah, very good. Well, it's got real sharp. I'd like to have it have a bit more bass, but I guess you're not set up for that. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here, Miguel. Good to talk to you again, and thanks for the links that you sent me. I haven't had a chance to look at them yet. I know there's a bunch of stuff that you sent over. But anyhow, it's good to talk to you. You've got a really nice signal here, and I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. But I've got to be at work really early, so I should get on out of here. 73 fellas, this is Kilo Bravo 2, Zulu Victoria Papa.
7-3 is Randy. All right, Randy. You're really going now.
My T is gone. I can see my future here. What do they call it? When they read the tea leaves, that's your future, right? So I can see it, and I got to go.
Have Alexa hypnotize. Play some. She can talk softly at night and hypnotize you. She actually asked me about that one night. I said, absolutely not. No way.
Who was this?
Alexa.
Oh, yeah, that's what you want to do. Succumb to that.
Yeah, she's gonna be subliminally programming me while I'm sleeping. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll be clucking like a chicken.
I'm looking at Miguel's Anand on his YouTube live feed. That's pretty cool.
Can you see your signal and all that too?
Yes, it's a little delayed, but yeah, I can see it. Man, I got a gigantic signal. Oh my gosh.
Big bad Mike.
How's mine look on it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Mary had a little lamb.
It's right down there in the weeds. No, it's actually doing tremendous.
At least it's in the weeds. That's good. Somebody's got to be there.
That's
okay,
cool.
you guys, I'll see you tomorrow. 73 on KB2ZVP. I'm checking out.
All right, Randy. See you, buddy.
It's on a 32-inch big screen right now. Cast it from my
Mikey.
So there you have it, Miguel. Good to hear your voice there. W2MUR.
Okay, very good, guys. 73 is Randy. Thanks for all the help, and I know you already checked out. And thank you, W2MUR, for checking the stream out. And I'll be saying 73s as well. It's been fun and learn a lot. KC1LKO. Big discovery today, the switches on the RE27. 73s, have a great evening. Miguel, New Hampshire.
All right, Miguel, leave your radio on a little bit so we can monitor our signals a little bit more there. But 73s, have a good night.
Actually, I had a question for you, Miguel.
How you doing, John?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Good. Were you on 1875 earlier in the evening?
Yes, I was.
I thought that was your melodious voice. I was tuning around doing some stuff, and I was coming up the band. I see where the big signals were. So the big signals, I just draw